You're listening to the Meaningful Minutes with Niki podcast. This is a show for busy Latter-day Saint women who want to learn simple tools to feel confident and inspired in 10 minutes or less. Welcome. On this episode, we will discuss how to fortify your faith for future challenges. Have you noticed an unprecedented number of people leaving the church lately? Like strong, faithful, close family members and friends? Do you ever wonder what led up to those decisions or what you need to be doing to fortify your faith from this same result too? I think a lot about making sure my faith can withstand the pressures ahead. I think it's because I hear our prophet pleading so much with us to strengthen our spirituality. In fact, he said, it is now time that we each implement extraordinary measures, perhaps measures we've never taken before, to strengthen our personal spiritual foundations. Unprecedented times call for unprecedented measures. The prophet is pleading with us to do something, not that we've never done before, to withstand what is coming in our day. So my question for you is, what are you doing to fortify that spiritual foundation? As a mental health therapist, I have studied how mental health skills can help strengthen my spiritual foundation. During my study of strategies to fortify my spiritual foundation, I noticed 3 vital themes that have helped me to deal with today's challenges. I have been a therapist for over 15 years, and there was a point a few years back when I realized I could use my mental health skills I was teaching to clients to also connect with God and receive God's power for my day. At this point, I had been helping people as a therapist for about 8 years with some of the biggest struggles of their lives. I was feeling enormous pressure to provide healing and care for individuals that were seeing me. I was working full-time, being a mom and a wife and holding a calling. And my kids were struggling with things that as a therapist, I should know how to deal with. And I just didn't. I was barely keeping my head above water. I had no idea what to focus on each day to be most effective. I felt like no matter what I did, I was running on this hamster wheel and getting nowhere. And there was always something else that needed to be done. Then the breaking point came. I lost some patients and a coworker to suicide. And I was broken. Who was I to help people? I felt unsure, inadequate, fearful, and drained. How could I continue to help people if I didn't even know what I needed, or my family needed, or my patients needed? As I started searching for answers and help, I began to see that the one person that knew exactly what every individual person needed from me was the Savior. And when I learned to build a relationship with God and learn to hear Him and have those consistent daily spiritual habits to help, I connected with the Savior to truly receive the revelation I needed to continue doing the important work He needed me to do. I also felt a massive load taken off my shoulders of having to know what each individual person needed from me, because I had direct access to the Savior who knows exactly what that person needs. All I needed to do was stay connected to the Savior daily and hear Him so that I could provide what each person needed. And that's when I realized becoming a receiver of the gospel was the key to build a stronger relationship with God. Have consistent daily spiritual habits and hear Him daily, which ultimately created a strong spiritual foundation for my faith, right? When I started seeking each day to make a connection with God and receive His power, I felt efficient and motivated to tackle the day through my daily spiritual habits. I was able to discern God's direction at every moment by hearing that still small voice of the Spirit. And I had endurance physically and mentally to deal with the challenges of life through God's power. I started seeing progress in my day and satisfaction in my efforts. I knew that whatever I was spending my time on was where the Lord needed me to be. And the stress of what I wasn't doing subsided because I knew right where I needed to be. All right, I had to interrupt these meaningful minutes for a quick reminder. The holidays are coming. Yep, they are fast approaching, and there are a few gifts that usually you're scrambling to think of ideas for last minute. And that's your friends, your neighbors, and your ministering sisters. Not this year. I got you covered. The Meaningful Prayer Journals are a powerful yet inexpensive gift that helps your gift receiver build a stronger relationship with God through prayer so they can feel Christ's enabling power, see the hand of God in their life, and prioritize their day through the Spirit. And this is also a fabulous gift for Relief Society presidencies to give out to their ward sisters. When you purchase in bulk for your Relief Society sisters, I offer you a 25% discount off your whole order. And this year, I'm even adding in a free virtual fireside called 5 Ways to Hear Him More in Your Life to be scheduled anytime in the next 6 months. So click the link in my show notes and order yours today. Because President Nelson has repeatedly pled with us to fortify our spiritual foundations. He's also said, as turmoil rages around us, we need to create places where we're safe, both physically and spiritually. When your home becomes a personal sanctuary of faith, where the Spirit resides, your home becomes the first line of defense. What I hear President Nelson telling us is that we need a spiritual foundation of faith so we have a place to go when life is difficult. I also love what Elder Douglas has said about our future and our faith. He said, each of us has weathered and will weather spiritual hurricanes that threaten our peace and try our faith. President Nelson has given us a promise that if we work on fortifying our faith, he said, the Lord has declared that despite today's unprecedented challenges, those who build their foundations upon Jesus Christ and have learned how to draw upon his power need not succumb to the unique anxieties of this era. So, if you can fortify your faith in Jesus Christ, then you will not succumb to the anxieties of our time. That is a great promise. I believe so strongly in what they're saying that I decided to create a free training called 3 Foundations to Fortify Your Faith. I want you to come and join us and learn to strengthen your spiritual foundation to withstand the spiritual storms that threaten your faith so that you can feel efficient and motivated to tackle the day through your daily spiritual habits and discern God's direction at every moment by hearing the still small voice of the Spirit for you, and have endurance physically and mentally to deal with the challenges through God's power. I would love for you to join me for this free training that I'm doing on December 14th. If you click the link in my show notes and choose which time you'd like to attend, then you'll join us and you'll join us on that day. And then what I'd love for you to do is copy that link and send it to a friend so that they can strengthen their spiritual foundation as well. All right, I hope to see you in the training. I will see you next week. I hope these minutes you spent with me were meaningful, helped you feel inspired, and more confident. If you liked today's episode, check out the show notes for links to other episodes you might like too. And while you're there, in my show notes, look for the links to my website, social media, and free handouts for remembering how to implement the skills. Thank you for listening to the Meaningful Minutes podcast with Niki Olson.